Okay, so today I'm going to talk to Nikki. Nikki is in Louisiana and she wants to start her own office supply company. And Nikki's going to be part of our new program. We're going to walk through a lot of different areas of entrepreneurship for her and help her to figure out the things that she needs to do to get started. Nikki wants to build an office supply company, and she wants to do that by the end of the year, which are some very, very strong goals, and we're here to help her do that. But Nikki, go ahead and tell us why. I know you and I talked a little bit on offline about why you wanted to start your own business, but I just want to share with the audience why you want to start your own business and what some of your goals are. I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. And then we'll get into
Oh, no.
the rest of this. So tell us a little bit about why you want to start your own business and what you're looking forward to.
I guess this has been a very long-term goal for me. As I mentioned, I've been wanting to do this for more than 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a dream, as simply as I can state it. It's always something that I wanted to pursue because I felt like, why not me? I've seen so many other people do it. I'm smart enough and capable enough to do it. Why not give it a shot? So, but it's always something in me that knows there's more that I could attain. So I wanted to reach out for something else. I was never comfortable with just working in an office every day. So I obviously felt like if I had to do it, I got to do it myself. So
Right. Yeah, I understand.
that was the first step.
Yeah, I shared with you how I dreamed of entrepreneurship as a little girl, 13 years old. I always remember that. So I completely understand how you feel. So we're starting from scratch, and that means that you and I are going to have to explore a lot of different areas. We're going to have to talk through things, and we'll work on this. We'll probably meet and talk every week, at least once a week, even if it's just for 30 minutes or an hour, just to keep you moving and to give you what you need, because I too know what that feels like. You need the support. So I sent you some prep questions, and I was quite impressed with how quickly you got those questions back to me. I was like, wow, really.
That's one thing. I'm very thorough. I've got a project management background, so
wow.
I'm a fast person to turn around. Yeah, that's what I do now. So
that's going to help your business a lot, your project management background, because it's going to keep you organized. It's going to make you think through things. That's awesome. I have project management too in my experience. You and I seem to have some things in common. Okay, so let's talk about the first question that you answered. I asked you about your business model. What does your business model for your office supply company look like? Is it in a physical building? Is it online? Where is it located? That kind of thing. And you answered, I'd like to start my business online first. Now, why do you think that would be a good idea?
I think that's where things are trending. People are getting away from bricks and mortar. It's not what you need anymore. And so many people, just look at Amazon. That changed the face of commerce entirely. That's why you see all these malls and strip malls dying and being abandoned, because everybody's doing everything online. So why not have an online business? Just makes sense.
That's a great answer. And that is very, very true. You're absolutely right. And even if you had an office supply store, I would, have encouraged you to do that anyway. It only makes sense, because then you can get into different markets, not just in one physical place. You know what I mean? You can get into different markets.
Yes.
Being online means a lot. And guess what? I have a document that I'm going to send to you for you to get started with the online portion of your business. Some things for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I just thought about that when you were saying that. Let me ask you this: do you have thoughts? Do you have any ideas about how to start your business online, or is that just we at the early stages of that? How much experience do you?
I'm at the early stage, but I did talk to a web designer because I was
Okay.
trying to come up with how it would look
Okay.
because, as you mentioned in one of your other YouTube videos, you want to cater to a federal market
Mm-hmm.
base. So I wanted it to appear, in kind with what they're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing. I wanted to find other websites that I can kind of mimic
Mm-hmm.
in format to kind of get, the same type experience with doing business online with the government. So
Mm-hmm.
that's about the gist of how far I've gone with my research.
That's
But
okay. That's okay.
again,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. Now, I will say you don't have to make it too complicated. You don't need to pay a whole lot of money for it. Keep it clean and simple. And you could actually use your one website. Sometimes people have two. They have a government site and then they have their regular business site. But you could have them together. If you keep it clean and simple, you could have a commercial side. You could have a store
okay,
right on the website, but you could also just have a tab for federal contracting. Of course, we would name it different,
okay,
but it would say, government, commercial, something like that. We could talk about that, but you don't need to spend a lot of money either. You just need to get something clean, very nice looking, very easy, because that's something that I think people don't get. I get so frustrated when I go to people's website and I can't find what I need. Even we have to consistently
yeah,
work on that. We're still working on our websites and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. One of the things that used to happen to me is because I'm such a detailed person, I would feel myself getting overwhelmed because I wanted everything now. I just wanted it all, meaning, oh, I want my
yeah,
website to have this, but I've learned that is not necessary, especially when you need to move quickly. You just need the basics. So I'm going to send you that document for you to
okay,
start looking into things, which will help you move that quickly. And that document talks
great,
about you having and getting a payment processor, a website, all of those kinds of things. It's like I want to say, I haven't looked at it in a long time, but it's about 5 steps to get you up and running. And it
okay,
all those things. And even if you don't need it to be up and running right away, it's one thing that you could get done quickly and easily, and you don't need to stress about it. So one of the biggest things I want us to help with by doing this is to help you, get your research done quickly. And if we have it already, you can have it. You know what I mean? So that was one of my
yeah,
frustrating things when I first started my business, was having to do everything by myself, the research, the homework, getting all that information. So I'll make sure I get that to you. Okay. And then I asked
okay.
you about, what else did I ask you? Oh, you mentioned that you don't really have or want to put a lot of capital into leasing a warehouse right now. How far along down the line do you think you might need to do that? Or is that something that you're thinking is going to come along the way? Maybe a few years from now, a couple of years from now. What were you thinking about that?
Um, More along the lines, I would say a year or two from now, I would probably want to have a physical building with a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just know most of these products would be shipped directly, and you don't make any money with them sitting in a warehouse. So of course, I wouldn't want a warehouse where I'm
Mm-hmm.
wasting money with product that's not being purchased.
That's right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Okay.
yeah,
That's very good thinking. And that's true. That is very true. And I always wonder about businesses like that. I know it's a different type. These are different types of businesses, but because this is what I do and I'm always calculating dollars, you know,
yeah,
sales, I'm always thinking, how long can that be an inventory before it becomes a problem?
right,
So that's very
right.
good thinking. So I'm glad you're thinking that way. So you don't feel like you need to have that like right away, right?
No.
Okay. And then you mentioned I would want my building to be located around other businesses. So what types of areas have you been looking at once you get into a warehouse? What types of areas have you been looking at? Downtown or locally? What is Nikki's in Louisiana, I should say. So I know, it's hard to imagine if you don't know a city or a state very well, but what is the area like that you would consider?
Um, where I live, there are a lot of what I call pockets of communities.
Mm-hmm.
The city's pretty spread out, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
but there are just really business complexes where there's just a condensed area of nothing but businesses, where there are office parks and
Mm-hmm.
warehouse facilities for lease. So I want to be somewhere in the heart of all those businesses to generate my products, because obviously these are the folks that I will be selling to. So I'd want to have visibility to where they are.
Right, right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now you mentioned when we were communicating, via email, you mentioned that your dad owns a building that you may consider using in the future.
Yes.
Now, where is that one? Is that one close to or around about the area that you're talking about where the other businesses are?
No.
It's
No, unfortunately.
okay.
The hub zone was what I was looking for the address for my father's building, and what I can tell from where these areas are, they're mostly low-income areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of in the northern part of the area where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on a good street. It's got a lot of high visibility. It's actually kind of bookcase with a library on one side and a fire station on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a middle school across the street. So it's in a very good location in terms of visibility. Now, I don't know how many clients would be passing by that building.
Right.
That would need that type of product I would sell.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I couldn't pull in clients if I, could market myself pretty well.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's something to think about, something that we could look at. Here's what I'm thinking. If and when you need a warehouse, because Niki, we could figure out that we haven't talked about the products that you're going to sell yet, but let's just say you decided to sell bigger things, because when you're talking federal contracts, you could be talking ink cartridges, you could be talking,
Right.
other types of supplies for printers, it could be anything. So you could possibly need that warehouse depending on where you're headed and depending on your business plan and your strategy and all of that. So
Right.
let's just keep that in mind, but it's still a great thought to have, because it could eventually become a part of your business plan. Now, you and I talked about the different types of certifications. It would be great for you to have HubZone as a certification too, especially since it's already in a HubZone area. You could easily and quickly get that certification. That just means that you would hire people in that area. That's what HubZone is all about. So
right,
that's
my concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the government needs a lot more HubZone businesses, small businesses especially.
You said that. Why did you say that they need more? Is it that it's very difficult to maintain a certification or to get certified?
To maintain.
What made you
maintain.
say that?
It's difficult.
Maintain. Okay.
Some people are, but you have to come up with a strategy for it. There are people that do it successfully. They get staffing employees from certain areas and have them come over there to work, or they live close by and they ask for referrals. It's a strategy that you have to put together, because sometimes it's easy to get the HubZone certification and have it going along for about a year or two. But what happens is when you start employing people, they have a good job. If it's a low income area, they
move
better. Yeah. And so,
right. That was my concern. Typically, I would want to move too if I was making money. Why not?
Yeah. So it defeats the entire purpose. And
yes.
So we look at that, but yeah, so that's one of the things you'd have to think about. I mean, I think that's a little down the road, but not too far necessarily, but we'll think about a strategy for that. So just keep that in mind. Now, speaking of hiring and staffing, you said that you don't want to hire right away, and I agree with you. You don't want to do that, put that burden on you until you need to or until you have to. There are a lot of these things
Right.
you do on your own in the beginning, especially with the online store. You could keep your
Right.
your professional daytime position for a minute until you're ready if you have a store that you are doing the right things to market it, and you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
do you have anyone close to you that if you needed to hire someone right away that would be willing to help you if you needed to pull someone in? You have anybody like that right now?
Uh, she would probably come kicking and screaming, but it would be my mother. She's
Okay.
retired, so uh, I could pull her in,
Okay. So
but she's happily retired, so she would only do that if I absolutely needed somebody.
okay. All right. Okay, well, that's just good to know. But in the meantime, we would have to, get all of these things organized. Now, the products, number two, we talked about products. I asked you, what products would you sell in the business? And you said, this depends on my research findings. You wanted to take the time to look at the trends, the schools and government entities and stuff like that. Now, I can tell you there is a lot that we could build upon when it comes to the federal side. Okay. So, and you and I
Okay.
are going to do that next time. In our next meeting, our next session, we're going to look at all of the different types of office supplies that you could sell to the government. And the reason I want to do that is because, you're going to have multiple streams of income. I really believe in that. I believe in, and this is what the government wants you to do too when you work with them. If you wanted to go into the 8A program, you could probably easily qualify within a couple of years to go into the 8A program. Okay. But while we're getting you to that point, you have to have a 2-year period. So while we're getting you to that point,
Right.
there are other certifications that you could get. Just you being a small business, even if you have to stay at your present position, you can still get set asides, not in the WSB, because you and I talked about that. You have to be full time
Right.
through the WSB. So you
Right.
do that down the line. But as a small business and woman owned, you can still be considered woman owned. You just don't have to be certified as WOSB. So this is what we would do. We would make sure that you are set up and SAM properly as a woman owned business, but you are also a small business and you're also minority. You can take advantage of those too. You see what I mean? So
Okay.
you could
Uh-huh.
still do your position and still have your online store and still, look forward to trying to sell to the government. You can still do all of this and still
Okay.
your set aside status. It's just that when you get a
Okay.
certification, you get more of a status. So think of it this way. Total
Wow.
small business is a status within itself. People don't realize that. If you're a small business, if the government says when you sign up for SAM that you're a small business, if they classify you as that, which most of the time they do, again, you can be up to a $36.5 million company and still be considered a small business.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's mostly, well, and I'll explain that to you more. It depends on your NAICS codes. Now, for your NAICS codes, your status as a small business, your window might be like 10 million. That's still a nice size company, right?
Right.
But for construction, as an example, there's this 36.5 million. So they can be all the way up to $36.5 million in revenue, and they are going to be considered still a small business. Okay, so, but I'm going to go through research with you. Next week, we'll spend time going through the research because that's going to be one of the most important things about your business plan. We need to know what you're going
Yes.
to sell. And
Yeah.
then we can build the business around that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, and then your online store even could be a huge part of that or the next step. Okay, so, but you said you wanted to take time to look at that, and that's what we're going to do. And I just like to mention that she already did a lot of research and did not hardly find anything. That's because that's because people don't want to share. People do not want to share. So, but that's okay. We're going to figure it out anyway. So we'll look at what you should have in inventory, what you should organize, and you're absolutely right about something you said earlier. You'll be doing a lot of drop ship. So
Yeah.
you may not need to even start having those things in the warehouse. It just really depends on the situation. And what else did I want to say about that? I think that's it. So let's go on to number 3. I asked you, will you sell to other businesses? Actually, you answered that. Yes, you would like to. Will you sell locally? You want to because you just talked about, having the storefront. Now, let me say this to you, and I don't know that this would work or if it would make sense right now, but it depends on where we head. I was thinking that you could always have the warehouse that your father owns, and then you could have a storefront, a small storefront.
Oh, that's absolutely what I want to do.
Okay. Where you be.
There's enough space to do all of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. That's really good to know. Okay, so let me write that down because that's huge. That could be part of your business plan. So you would have a storefront, you'd have the online store, and then you would use your father's warehouse as your or father's building as your warehouse. Once you start growing and
Yeah, I
product.
mentioned the building itself is 10,000 square feet, which
I
is
know.
pretty sizable.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty
Yeah, I can send you a link to what it looks like on Google. It's pretty good, but I cringe because the building is so large and it needs so much work,
yeah.
and I'm concerned about the cost because I know it could be a lot.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? There's some other ideas that could come about from there. You could maybe rent some of the space out or something. I mean, that's a whole nother
Yeah, we talked about that.
you consider, if your dad wanted to. And now, is your dad in construction? Does he have construction experience?
He is.
Yeah, okay.
He is.
So,
He's a general contractor.
mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's good. See, you got 2 things going for you already. We got 50% of the problem solved.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is good. Okay, so number 3, I asked you about your market. No, excuse me, we're past number 3. The answer is you're definitely going to sell to other businesses. You want to be in the mix of where those businesses are. Plus you want to sell online. And you actually said, yes, I want to sell to everyone. So we'll just have to figure out how do you sell to everyone that needs things. You also mentioned up here, like schools. That's a great idea too.
Yes,
The
I
school,
have. My mother is a retired teacher, and they love supplies. Like
yes.
they get euphoric on supplies.
Yeah,
So
I'll bet
I
they.
want to market to schools too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great idea too. That would be one of your markets. That would be the multiple stream of income scenario that I
Yes.
talk about, having different markets. And you're selling the same products just in different markets. So you could be selling the same products to federal, you could be selling the same or similar products to school districts, to businesses in the area. And that's the most important thing is to once you get started is to think about the different markets and the different groups of folks that you can sell to. So okay, now number 4, your marketing strategy. I didn't expect you to have like a huge answer to this, but that's my job is to help you figure that out. But you did write that you could use my help on that, and then maybe some of the face-to-face approach, and you will be probably doing some of that in your storefront. You know what I mean? Like letting the businesses in the
Hmm.
area know that this is what you do and that you can probably supply all of their needs because you know what these businesses are doing. They're going to Home Depot. I mean, not Home Depot, but the
Right.
Office Depot.
Office
Yeah,
Depot, Office Max.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And why? we do it too. We just started doing a lot of our supplies with small businesses only because, I'm into this thing about working with small businesses. So I insisted that we start using other small businesses. Nothing against Staples and Office Max, but they already get their sales. We need to help small businesses
Yeah.
get their sales. So, but you're right. You also mentioned good customer service. Good customer service is going to be very, very important. And I will tell you, if I could bottle customer service and sell it, I would be a billionaire. So, because people don't believe in it anymore. So when you have a small business and you act like you care about your customers and you're there with them and you want to make a difference, it shows. It's very easy to stand out in this
Yeah.
today because people just don't think of service the way that they used to. So that's good. Those are good answers. But I will, of course, help you with your marketing strategy portion. And then we just have two more, or at least one more. Your sales. How much revenue do you expect to make? So you tell me. You were kind of modest here, but like, what would make you do this full time? Come into your office supply business. Where would you like to see yourself be? Give me a range that would be comfortable for you, just to say, okay, I'm walking away from my job.
I mentioned that the industry's, I guess, average was 3 to 5, and I said I probably want to be double that amount, so that's roughly around 6 to 10 thousand a month profit. That would be enough for me to walk away
Yeah, see,
from my job.
you're absolutely right about the industry standard. That is very low. 3K to 5K, that's very low. And, even to me, your goals they're realistic and they make way more sense. Unless a person is just wanting to stay home and have a side thing, that's where you do 3,000 to 5,000 a month. But if you're talking about building a business,
Right.
at minimum, you need to be where you're talking about. And if you start out, the way we're talking about, you won't have a lot of expenses in the beginning. You want to build up
Right.
to 20,000 a month. I know to some
Right.
people that sounds like a lot of money, but it really is not. It's where we should be. Think about it. $20,000 a month. What is that? That's, just a little over 100 grand a year.
A year.
120,000
Mhm.
a year, 110,000. That's not a lot of money, especially for a business.
No.
But you're planning to do things that will allow you to, do business all over the country, in your state, locally, all of that. So, eventually you should definitely expect to do way better than that. So your thoughts are right about that. And then the last question is implementation. How soon would you like to get things moving, open your doors? What did you say?
The next 3 to 6 months.
Those are very aggressive goals. But with the online part of it, we may be able to do it with no problem.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. When you said open your doors, I meant to put in there theoretically, I'm opening doors because it would be online. So
Mhm.
it's not a physical door opening. It's just kind of starting to
Yeah.
get
Mhm.
things going.
That's right. And you know what, Nikki, once you do that, even if it's just online, when you have time or when you're able to do this, and I know you have some room in your schedule, once you get that store up online, you could very easily go into that area where you want to open your storefront
Mhm.
just to do some face to face, like you said, and let people know who you are, what you're doing, and that you're going to be in the area soon. But right now,
Ah.
you know what I mean? So,
Uh-huh.
um, it could all come together and take off very quickly that way. And that's the easiest way to do it if you want to, the easiest and the fastest way to do it if you want to open your doors within 3 to 6 months is to start online. So our next steps are going to be to do our homework with the products. And then we're going to Then we're going to look at suppliers. We have to look and see, okay, so if you like some of these products that are, being purchased by the federal government, and we can also look at your state, by the way. Let me ask you this. Are you certified by the state yet? Have you done WBE or DBE with the state yet?
I'm in the process of doing it now. I've gone to a couple of, training sessions about
Okay.
it. So I'm in the process of doing that. That's one of my goals for the next 30 days.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. Yeah, you want to get that because there's probably a lot of opportunity for you there. And I don't know how much competition you would have. Sometimes you have less competition on a federal level than you do on a state level, believe it or not. But a lot of this have county programs, the schools. You can do it directly with the schools. So we have some homework to do. Okay. What I will probably have you do is, this is what we're going to do. So this is our next step. I'm going to do the federal homework. Okay. So I will pull some reports. Some of them I already have, but I'll pull as many as I can. And I'll pull the federal reports, clean them up so that we can take a look at those reports together. And then you could look at some of your schools in the area, like your school districts, to see how they actually buy their supplies. Normally, they have an online process where you can bid. And all you need to do, if you can't find it, call the school district or call the school. A lot of the schools will do it individually. They will have their own website and they will have their own process. So you could do the schools and I will do the federal reports. Now, if you have time before next week or before we get together again, I want you also to look at you're doing the certification for your state. So I want you to go to your state's website, the WBE, DBE website, and see if you can find any office supply opportunities in there. Like, see if you can locate any opportunities, even if they're old, to see what they're buying.
Okay.
So you'll do that one or those two, and I will do federal. And when I do federal, I'm going to be looking at all the agencies that are buying from small businesses, office supplies, and things like that. But I'm going to look for the types of products, what they're buying. Are they buying ink cartridges? Are they buying paper? I know they buy a lot of paper. Are they buying?
Yeah, that's what I saw in the report that you sent me. They actually had, I think they had product types. I don't know how I found it, but it was a lot of ink and paper. I was like, that was for my state is what I saw, the top product.
And keep in mind when you see that they have these opportunities, the goal is for you to be one of the few. Sometimes every blue moon you might have a lot of competition, but most of the time it's not a lot of competition on the federal level at all. But it is important. This is why it's important for you to get your WOSB as soon as we can, as soon as you get your doors open, as soon as you feel like you're ready, then we can go for the WOSB. But, and then also, the hub zone, we may not be able to do that until you feel, and if you feel like you're ready to, or if you even need that, because you also don't want to cost yourself money that you don't need, to pay out, over the next couple of, the next few months or whatever. So it has to be practical, needs to make sense. But it sounds like we're going to have to focus a lot on, when it comes to your sales, focus a lot on your online, and also you introducing yourself in the community in that area where you want to be. And also some of the schools too, by the way, especially since your mom was a teacher.
Yes, she's got a lot of contacts that I can use to leverage relationships with, people that purchase for the school, and get some ideas of where to start marketing for each school.
So, and these school districts are big. They have hundreds and hundreds.
Yes, and we have a wave of charter schools now overtaking our areas. That's kind of a new trend I've
Oh
noticed
my
here.
goodness. That's good for you. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have fun working with you. I like it. Oh, I keep hearing this is awesome. Okay, well, I'm with you. So, all right. So, Nikki, that's it for today. And you and I will talk on offline. I'll send you an email to, just wrap up what our next steps are, and we'll set our next session
Okay.
time and date. But this was so much fun, and I'm glad you want to do this
It
with
was.
me. But
I was, and I appreciate you communicating with me and acting as a mentor. I highly value that, and I told you that
I
before.
know
It
you
means
do.
a lot because
I know you do.
it's very hard to find you.
Well, I know you do. Just so you guys know, for whoever is listening, Nikki asked me, she was very brave. She wrote to me and asked me 1,000 questions. And Nikki, to be honest with you, I said, oh my goodness, I need to set aside some time to answer these questions. So, but I was so excited
Yes.
to do it for you, though. I really was. I love entrepreneurship. I really believe in it. I already told you my whole story, and no matter where I am, what I'm working on, even in corporate, I just love this stuff. So, okay, well, that's the end of our session, and thank you, Nikki, and I will talk to you next week. Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye. Have a good day. Have a good
All
week.
right.
Okay.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.